It's the Sunday Chronicle on Stacks 92.1. It's the Sunday Chronicle. We gon' give the news and keep you up to date. From crimes to the politics, you gon' know what's up around your way. We give 2 thumbs up to everyone out here doing their thing. We gon' show mad love to all the ones working hard in communities. It's the Sunday Chronicle.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Chronicle. I'm your host, Yanice Jackson, coming to you from Stacks 92.1 FM. This is the platform for community because community knows what community needs. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my followers for being here again, bright and early on this Sunday morning, or if you are catching me, streaming me off of iTunes or whatnot, we appreciate you. We could not be here without you. Our third season, we are going strong. So thank you for being here. And thank you to my wonderful co-host, Span. He's in a different spot today, so it's throwing me off. I'm saying that because... I'm saying that because I can't, thank him for being here because he gets weird on me. He doesn't like compliments.
It's so weird. Like, whenever you compliment me, I get all bashful and stuff, and it's like... It's like I do whenever anybody does the t-shirt. I've seen that before. I'm like, oh gosh.
I cannot believe that you're shy. It just
in that regard. I don't know why. Like, I am not shy in any other regard.
But just no compliments.
Yeah, just compliments. I'll just be like,
or do something weird
okay. Boom blah.
Yeah, like that. I'm like, what is that? And it just gets me. It throws me off. And then I'm like, but that's okay. But I'm glad you're here. And I'm going to say this. I appreciate you and the dynamic that you add. So that's it. I'm going to stop it there because you're going to start clamming up and doing weird stuff. And I'm going to turn to my left and introduce my special guest, Mr. Hakim Crampton. And he is here today to talk about the Southside Festival series and some other things. He's a man that wears many hats, and we are happy to have him here today. Hakim, thank you for being here today on the Sunday Chronicle.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell me, we know about this Southside Festival series, but tell me a little bit about this and just your background.
Yeah. So, as you see, it has the title Southside, and it's particularly specific to the South Side of Jackson, Michigan. And so every story has a chronicle, so to speak, right? The Chronicle News, and really the history of myself, really, giving rise to a community of Jackson on the South Side. I'm in my 50s right now, early beginning. I'm just 51 this year. But my history spanning back the course of these decades in this community calls forth my direct responsibility to my community after my experience in my community over the course of these decades, which ultimately gave rise to me wanting to have a commitment, passion to really give back to my community. Right. And so this community, the South Side of Jackson, is a community that used to be called the Southeast Side of Jackson. And there was 60s, what was called the Belden Project. Mm-hmm. And it was an urban renewal expansion project that obliterated our black community and destroyed it to where us, the new generation being born in the early 70s, we were supposed to be the recipients of all this new civil rights accomplishments, mm-hmm. supposed to be the recipients of, integration and this urban renewal that came to our community that actually historically now we know destroyed the bedrock of an economic, what could be a lost history of a Greenwood district in Michigan of Jackson. Because I say that because the very first black bank in the state of Michigan was in Jackson, Michigan.
Yes.
People don't know that.
Well, you told me. I didn't know before you told me.
And as I mentioned, the only way you can have a black bank is to have a black economy to support a black bank. So that means that of all the communities in the state of Michigan, if Jackson was able to produce a black economy to produce the first black bank, then perhaps we have some little hidden history of a Greenwood district there, Black Wall Street, so to speak.
Yes.
So the fight continues, and it's the most impoverished community in Jackson. And so here I am in the middle of it, seeking to remedy that to a certain extent through this part of my work by offering small businesses the opportunity to vend, to set up their small businesses and reach the community in a community that hasn't been reached.
So And it's not just exclusive to Jackson, right? It's people from all over, vendors from all over Michigan. Are they welcome to come?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beautiful part of it is that, Jackson, Michigan is the crossroads city. It's the crossroads, I-94-127, right?
Yes.
The oldest continuous railroad station today is in Jackson, Michigan, operating. Amtrak's rolled through there, rails rolled through there to this day, right? And so Jackson is a hub.
Yes.
So Jackson's been a hub for Lansing, for Battle Creek, for Ann Arbor, right? For Adrian. So it's surrounded in such an area that we've always made sure that this work we're doing there really reconnects back, because during the Belden expansion project, many of the successful black entrepreneurs left Jackson and went to other cities, right? Okay. Went to Kalamazoo, went to Detroit, went to Flint, right? And where they became successful, continuous doing the work that they were doing in Jackson. So we continue to have people come back from all over the state of Michigan, Indiana, everywhere, every year. That's what we kind of pitch to bring people back.
So tell me about the different events that are in the series, because I know there's so many things going on. Myself being a part of one of them was really wonderful. The author book fair, and it wasn't just local authors; it was authors from all over. So just tell me about the events, if please.
Yeah, because that'll give you the full range of what this is really all about. It does begin with the Local Authors Expo, and that's the title of it, Local Authors Expo. Me being myself an author, understanding the need for local-based authors and writers and expressionists to be able to have a platform and opportunity to meet their readers, to meet the community and say, hey, here I am, come get a book, and I'm going to sign it for you, etc.
And he's not just an author, and I'm sorry to cut you off. He's a super author. Don't you have like 8 books or something?
I got 8 books in print right now, yeah.
8 books.
Jeez.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was like, when I saw his books, I'm like, dang.
Well, I see his thumbs working over there. I was like, oh, they must be writing a book right now.
Yeah, I always got a book. I got 2 books in the works right now. Yeah, besides others. But yeah, so the local authors, give them a platform, really, right? So starting there with education, really, because that it's a cornerstone of reading, of course, is education. Our community has one of the lowest, educational attainment rates in the state, right, of course. So anyway, that leads us into the first summer series. It's called the Black Arts Fest.
The Black Arts
And
Fest.
that is to really show appreciation to black artists and black expressionists and people of color that have various artistic forms of expression, a way to express themselves. We wanted to highlight them in a community in which people have been forgotten. Communities, pockets of us in our communities, like artists, have been forgotten in Jackson. So we wanted to give them a platform to say, hey, because remember we painted the road Black Lives Matter in Jackson, right in the heart of where this festival is at. So therefore they gave the impetus, the starting point to say, hey, black artists, black expressionists, we want to celebrate you. This is an opportunity for you to come vend, set up your booths and et cetera, for people to come and appreciate you. That's the second festival. The third festival is the Art Entrepreneurs Expo.
Okay.
And that is to really give any small-based entrepreneur an opportunity to really showcase themselves. But we have an actual expo there in which we have a roundtable discussion of local entrepreneurs. We have people there focused on business, tax people there, showing people how to do different things in the business world, how to start businesses, how to start food trucks, etc. All that is a part of the Entrepreneurs Expo.
That's awesome.
Then we have the Heal the Hood. And Heal the Hood is an important piece that we copied from the city of Milwaukee. A very high crime-ridden city I got locked up in as a kid. Right, I have a history there. Spent a lot of time in that state and know the history of violence there. And so Heal the Hood, it didn't start there, but he picked it up from another organization in St. Louis that was doing Heal the Hood. And which what he did, and which ours mimics it, is he descends upon local communities that are hardest hit by violence and does a huge community festival called Heal the Hood. He brings all the partners in, everyone is servicing the community, therapeutic services, treatment services, mentor programs, education, after school, etc. And all the people who in the community say they support our kids and support our communities. He brings them together for a huge festival called Heal the Hood. We took on that same theme and wanted to do the same thing in our community. And lastly, we do Kwanzaa. right? Which is an important theme for us in our community. We do that every December 26th to tap into the culture of the community, a community that hasn't offered us any historically cultural connection in our community to be continuous. You know, we might do some event for the Black community 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but there's nothing continuous there. So all these series of festivals were designed to give us an institution of our own that we've always lacked, right? An institution that would service our community at this level of festival, institutionalized, community-based, grassroots, opportunity for community to really come together and celebrate and so many different facets that we offer, all those different things.
Yes. And I mean, that sounds wonderful. And I would like to dive into this a little bit more. And it looks like Span probably has some questions. He's usually like raising his hand. He's moving his hand. So I know.
No, like I'm just mesmerized by all this. Like this is just brilliant. Like this is brilliant from bottom to the top. And I'm like I feel like a spectator. I'm just like, oh, this is interesting.
I was surprised. I mean, because I saw your hand moving, but I'm like,
because that's my brain is thinking.
Oh, okay.
That's how when my hands are moving, it's because my brain is processing information.
You were too quiet though. I was like,
there's. I mean, you think about to have a Black bank in the. Hold up. Do you need a break?
Well, yeah, I was gonna go to break.
Okay, no, I can.
Okay,
complete that.
So we'll take a short break, but not before I remind everyone that you're listening to the Sunday Chronicle, heard every Sunday morning on Stax 92.1 FM, the platform for community, because community knows what community needs. We'll be back after this.
At Lansing Community College, I'm learning for my future. LCC offers 1- and 2-year pathways to careers in healthcare, IT, manufacturing, and other professional trades. More than 500,000 professional trades jobs will need to be filled in Michigan by 2026. So I know I'm learning for a great career. I belong at LCC. You belong here too. Visit lcc.edu/youbelong and enroll today.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-406-6569. 800-406-6569. 800-406-6569. That's 800-406-6569.
Hi, I'm Yanice Jackson, publisher and editor of the Chronicle News, host of the Sunday Chronicle, and mom. Amongst my many titles, I've added writer to them. My new book chronicles everything I've learned along the way. So check out my book, Notes from the Trail, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. Audiobook coming soon. For more information, visit my website at www.yaniceyvette.com. And welcome back to the Sunday Chronicle. This is Yanice Jackson coming to you from Stax 92.1 FM. And we're talking a little bit about the Southside Festival series with my guest Hakim. We're just going in deep, and it is very interesting to hear his story and why this exists. So this is the 5th year, right?
The sixth.
The 6th year. So this is something that's been going on, and it's growing, right? And it's not just a local thing. It seems as though it's a way to prop up local businesses, not only in Jackson, but throughout Michigan, and provide them an outlet to be able to express themselves, to promote their businesses, their books, to learn essential skills, to network in professional environments. And you were talking a little bit about the seminar where you have the conversation. The one that you're having this year, you have Hill Harper, correct?
Yes, we have Hill Harper. He's going to be on The Lion's Den, which is a show in Jackson hosted by a Black attorney named George Lyons from Detroit, who ran for judge previously and is currently going to be running for judge again this year if he collects enough signatures.
Okay. And so where would you like to see this go? Hakim? Not just, this series. What is your vision, say, for the next, within 5 years?
Well, so there's a geographical component to this piece as well. Where we're having this at, right, geographically is the central heart of the Black community on the south side of Jackson. Mm-hmm. But it sits on what's called the MLK Equality Trail, which runs through right to our King Center, right, which is one block east of the plaza, and it runs all the way out to Concord, Michigan, on a path with lakes and walkways and etc. And so the vision really is to really capitalize off of the geographicness of this opportunity for our community, where we're hardest hit in poverty. As I said, housing is an issue. Small Black businesses is an issue. So really the goal and gist of this is to, like I said, establish this as an institution in our community, but to then institutionalize it where to have its ultimate position in our community.
Yes.
To where businesses can rely on this every single year.
Yes.
And have write it into their strategic planning. Mm-hmm. For example, it's part of their business model that they'll know they'll be a part of this continuous festival that we intend to expand down the path.
Yes.
Because as we block off the street that the plaza sits on, the path leads to our mural 1 block away and to our King Center. Mm-hmm. Right, which is owned and operated by the city of Jackson, but it is nevertheless a large multi-acre area, basketball courts, pavilion, baseball diamond. So we really intend to expand from our physically, right, down the path into the King Center, all the way down to the actual mural at the next block, and really envision such a much broader, bigger festival over the weekend period that rivals any one of our county fairs.
So if we want to reach you, if somebody wants to reach you, they want to just attend, or if they want to be a vendor, how do they contact you, Hakim?
Well, our Gmail is southsidesummerfest@gmail.com.
Okay.
southsidesummerfest@gmail.com. We do have a website, and it's hosted by another site. I forget the full details, because you have to say the site and then the...
Well, they can Google it then,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. If you Google Southside Festival Series, it will pull up our website, mm-hmm. and we're available also on social media sites, Facebook. So just Southside Festival Series is a way to reach us, and southsidesummerfest@gmail.com.
Okay. All righty. That is good. So you hear that? If you guys cannot find the website, just Google it. It will come up and someone will get back with you. They're very responsive. They want you to come out. Please come out and support this event. It's very important. And we want to continue to support this and keep this growing. So please reach out to Hakim if you are interested. Now, I wanted to shift a little bit, Hakim, and ask you, you are a man of many hats. You're an author. You've written 8 books. You are an entrepreneur, and you also are an advocate for Black men. And tell me a little bit about your path and how you began to speak about the prison population, mm-hmm. and to be an advocate on their behalf. Tell me a little bit about that.
I'm going to start in a place I normally don't, right? And only because where I'm starting at in this story is one of the critical pieces of how I got to do the work that I'm doing and what happened to me along the path that inspired me and made me passionately driven with a why, right? And so I normally don't talk about this over the last 4 to 5 years. I did the work. And so I'm just coming off of a 4-year appointment by Governor Gretchen Whitmer to the Michigan State Indigent Defense Commission. My commission expired last year in 2023. Mm-hmm. I served 4 years, technically in state government, you could say, on that commission. Now, that commission is the embodiment of why I do the work I do. The Michigan Indigent Defense Commission was created by Governor Snyder about 10 years ago. And it is the commission as a part of the government that oversees the implementation, the creation of state public defender offices. We never had state public defender offices in the state of Michigan.
Are you serious?
Serious, 100% serious. We had judicial appointments. Judges would appoint what people thought was public defenders, but they were private attorneys who was paid at the public defender rate. right, which was a cheaper rate. So a lot of disparities in the criminal justice system happens as a result of that. Now, we understand that when a person is arrested, and we know the disparities of more black people being arrested, more black people being incarcerated, but when a person is arrested, you're read your Miranda warnings, right? And now that safeguard is the most important cornerstone to the criminal justice system, to assuring that a person is fairly treated. You know, to be notified immediately you have rights that can't be violated by us who are talking to you right now, who are arresting you, who are taking your right to be free right now, right? You still have rights to notify. So the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission is, you know, the most important piece of that is that it was really designed to protect that right most importantly, but all the pieces that come after that, right? The right to, you know, to be present when, you know, for every, to have a counsel present for every judicial hearing, which hadn't happened. You get arrested, you go see a judge. You ain't got no attorney there. You go see a judge and they give you a bail. That is illegal technically, right?
Yeah.
So the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, through us, when I was on the commission, we institutionalized that as one of the required elements, right? So nevertheless, the story begins there for me with telling you this because over the last 4 years, I got a chance to really see how the criminal justice system works at the judicial level, at a higher judicial level. Yeah. Now, growing up in the crack era of the 80s, right, produced a young child like myself who was told that I was going to be dead before I was 18 or in prison before I was 18. I was told this ever since I was 11, 12, 13 years old. Now, by the time I was 18, I was 1 month out of turning 18, arrested in the city of Milwaukee for an unsolved murder that happened. I had no idea who committed the crime or who was the murder victim. I had no knowledge of it. But I got arrested with 3 other friends. When we were in custody, they separated us in separate interrogation rooms, right? They probably gave us our Miranda warning. I don't remember. I was a kid. But they separated in separate interrogation rooms, and they began telling each one of us that everyone else confessed. So after 5 days of that, they came to me and said,
wait.
5 days in the city jail in a bullpen, sleeping on a cement floor. That's right, 5 days. On the 5th day, they came in with the fingerprint me. And I said, wait a minute, what am I being fingerprinted for? And the officer read the charges: 1st-degree murder, armed robbery. And I was like, no, you ain't fingerprinting me for that. Long story short, I was fingerprinted. I was given $1 million bail. I was bound over for trial. I went to trial. With the one gentleman who was with us confessed to the crime of murder that none of us knew anything about. He testified against us. We were found guilty.
To get his sentence reduced.
Absolutely, he did no time. Now, after I was found guilty,
no time?
No time. After I was found guilty, before I was sentenced, my private investigator asked me and my mother to hook up a recorder to the phone and secretly record him with me on the phone, calling from jail, calling through a 3-way.
Wait, you had a private investigator?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had a private, because I was innocent. So we were trying to investigate and find out who actually did this crime simultaneous, right? So I had a private investigator my whole trial, in the streets trying to figure things out. So, that didn't lead to nothing for us, so to speak. So after I was found guilty, before I was sentenced, I called him on a 3-way with my mother, through my mother. He didn't know she was on the call. He thought I just had some girl call.
Wait, you were in prison?
I was locked up.
So you were on the prison systems.
On a prison phone. Yeah.
And it didn't have that, you are speaking with connections.
I got another story to that.
Okay.
Quiet is kept, and that's a separate story. People don't know this. I'm the reason that exists. That happened in 1996. I'm the reason it exists because I organized from prison the coalition of politicians on the street to challenge the conditions of confinement for religious prisoners who weren't receiving religious fundamental fairness. So I organized a council with the 3-way. So when they found out I did that, they made it where you can't click over and make 3-way calls. Yeah. So nevertheless, making that phone call with him on a 3-way, we recorded him, and I asked him, "Hey, why did you lie?" And he told us the whole truth, that he never knew who committed the crime, that they told him that I said he did it. So he thought that I must have done it and was trying to put it on him. So he reversed it to try to get out of something he thought I was putting on him. So he falsely confessed. So we took that back to the courts, his signed affidavit. He reassured the judge that he was telling the truth at his trial testimony because he was then threatened with perjury if he recanted. So I was sentenced to 45 years to life in prison at the age of 18. in 1992 before I turned 19.
They didn't know who killed nobody, and they're just willing to throw your life
away. Oh no, there was a victim, but we just didn't know. Me and my other friends didn't know have any part in it. There was a victim who was killed and murdered.
No. What I'm saying is somebody died, and instead of actually trying to find out the person who did it so that you could prevent that person from doing it again, you just went ahead and grabbed 3 brothers off the street to throw their lives away.
Absolutely. Now there's several different motivating factors perhaps. This was on the heels of the Jeffrey Dahmer arrest, just a couple months later. Oh. Okay. So the police department is under heavy fire for returning one of the victims back to Jeffrey Dahmer. If you recall, Conorak's sentencing phone was returned back to Jeffrey Dahmer by the police, by law enforcement, right? And then his body was subsequently found in that house. So nevertheless, they was under all that issue, so that could have been a reason why. But there's another thing which ties me back to Michigan. There was detectives from Michigan who were at my guilty verdict, who, if I would have been found not guilty, I was thinking perhaps they were there to take me into custody for things that occurred here in Michigan before I went to Milwaukee. So that could have played a part in it as well. I do not know why I was chosen to be a victim of this situation. Nevertheless, I went to prison, man, and I started serving my sentence. And my focus while I was serving that sentence was on me, because I was fortunate that I had a mother who supported me and believed in me, and therefore then I had attorneys who believed in me, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had the support I needed to continue fighting legally while I worked on me. Mm-hmm. Because at the same time, while I came into that situation, innocent of that situation, I was a kid off the streets impacted by the crack era, impacted by the crack epidemic. I had blood on my hands. That just wasn't my blood. You feel what I mean? Right. And so I did a full, 360 reverse in my life to change my life. And 10 years into my bit, the Innocence Project picked up my case. They took my case from Reuben Hurricane Carter. If you remember the movie Denzel Washington. I was just thinking
about that. That's what I was like, this sounds just like the movie.
Yeah, but the Innocence Project, they get a lot of petitions every year.
Every year.
So if they pick you up, it's like, your stuff is so obvious.
They denied me initially, right? For one, they first denied because I didn't have at least 10 years in. Right, they take the most highest priority cases. People who got life and are there longer, they take them first. So Reuben Hurricane Carter's organization heard about my case. He's the one whose movie Denzel Washington played in his life story, his being innocent. They passed it on to the Innocence Network. I was in Oklahoma in a private prison because they had shipped me out from Wisconsin to a private prison. Wow. They picked up my case and was trying to communicate with me via phone, via mail, and semesters went by, and so 2 new attorneys was assigned to me. I said at this time I had been locked up 14 years. I said, listen, I got to get out, and I can't just wait for you to file motions and briefs to prove my innocence. It just so happened that I knew somebody that knew somebody, and that somebody that they knew happened to be the parole chairman. And I said, do you think you can get the parole chairman to listen to my attorneys, to meet with my Innocence Project attorneys, and let him hear from them that I'm innocent? Because they're never going to parole me. I'm going to be stuck here for the rest of my life, right? And lo and behold, he said he would agree because of the person that I knew. He believed in their integrity. He said, and this is what she told me. She said, he told me, do you believe in him? And she said, yes. He said, okay, if you believe in him, that's the only reason I'm giving him a shot. And he gave my attorney the shot, and he said, I'm going to release him. He released me in 2006 after 15 years. So I served 15 years in prison. On that case, came home, came right back here to my community in Michigan, came right back here to Lansing, came to Jackson because I went to school here in Lansing as well. I went to high school here in 1989. And so I had history here. And so I wanted to be a part of my community, a part of kind of solving some of the issues that I was accused of being a problem of. And with some of those issues in our community, especially the crack epidemic, I was a problem of them. I was right at the heart of the crack epidemic in 86, 87, when it's beginning, when us kids were running up to cars with rocks in our hands, you know what I mean? And beating, it was a violent time to live through. Yes. So I use that perspective in the work that I do in my community to fight back, and to really raise my voice in places that is not normally accepted. And that's how I got to work for the organization that I work for in New York City called Just Leadership USA. I'm a senior trainer with that organization. My title is called Movement and Capacity Building Specialist. And what we do is we travel around the country training formerly incarcerated leaders who are already working in what we call criminal justice advocacy spaces, who are advocating for change in their community. We train them to be more impactful in their community by helping them develop themselves as leaders first and foremost, and then secondly, to develop the strategies, the tools that it takes to really impact your community, to find a lane, a space where you're not welcomed at because you're a felon. You're the worst of the worst in society, so your voice doesn't count. We train them how to find those spaces where your voice can matter and count.
Yes.
And that's why I said I began there, because that's the goal of the organization I work for, is to get people like me to the Michigan Energy and Defense Commission, to places like that, where I had a powerful influence on that commission and the things that I said. We had some of the language that we writ in there. I was able to assure that diversity, equity, inclusion language was in there to assure that we're identifying some of the problems in the criminal justice system when it comes to, for example, public defenders. We're creating a public defender institution. What are the requirements for them?
Yes.
Right? What are the hiring requirements? What training do we want them to get? I was a part of making sure that aspect was taken care of when it comes to the voice of making sure they don't hire just some random white person who don't understand the community that's going to fight for a kid in the community, 19 years old, charged with murder.
Yeah. And
I mean,
I know I can't even. I want to say something, but it's like I'm sitting here just listening, and it's so much to take in, and like my heart is aching. But at the same time, I am glad that we have the Hakims of the world, right?
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Because I don't want to.
Yeah, we're running close on time.
That's
just real quick. Yeah. When the opioid epidemic started, I want to say in the mid-teens, and you saw these interviews on television of white children and white parents, like, we can't believe what this OxyContin did to little Jimmy. How do you reconcile how our community was left abandoned by the Reagan administration when crack was brought on our streets by his administration, and then see what happens with, like, all the money that is going into the opioid crisis? Just like, how do you reconcile that?
Well, it's hard to say this, but sometimes you have to say it. In the words of the Honorable Malcolm X, it's like a case of the chickens coming home to roost. Really, because this epidemic is predominantly impacting the white community. And this white community had an opportunity in the 80s not to just blame and point the finger at the black community, but to really step in with resources and support and say, hey, this is a crisis. Like, we look at the COVID-19, it's a crisis. And when it was a crisis, we asked everyone in the world to stop what you're doing, to pay attention and focus on that. And that's when we look at what's happening in the black community, what's been happening in the black community since slavery and post-slavery. We have to say, hey, what's happening is a crisis, and our priorities need to be focused on that. That means even at the political level. So that means if you as a black person, you run for mayor of your city, and you're a predominantly white city, and you become mayor, you got to tell the white community, guess what? I'm a black mayor. I'm not just going to be here represent all of the Lansing. Guess what? There's a crisis that is happening. There's a priority that needs to be focused, just like when COVID-19 hit. And I need to shift my focus on a priority over here in this black community that's hardest hit. Yeah. You're not going to be neglected, but my priority needs to be over here. Yes. And that's what didn't happen in the 80s, of course. And so
it affects all of us.
We need to make that perspective clear.
Yes, it affects all of us. I wish we could have like hours to talk about this because it's so much I want to ask, but I'm going to say this, that we appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I know there are probably countless nights when you said, why me, and come full circle to this, and we need you to do this, right? We need you to fill that gap, and so we appreciate that. And this is the reason the Chronicle News exists, to prop up the Hakims of the world. We need that. This newspaper was started during the crack era, during the war on drugs, because everybody's not a dope dealer, right? And even then, we need to hear the voice of the dope dealer, right? Because we didn't bring it over here, right?
Yes.
And I'm not going to get started because that's a whole nother hour.
It really is.
Because I'm like, it's just like a fire in me and I want to go off. So I think it's time. The time is growing near. Hakim, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Span, again. And thanks to my listeners for tuning in once again to the Sunday Chronicle. I'm your host, Yanice Jackson, coming to you from Stax 92.1 FM. This is the platform for community, because community knows what community needs. Make it a great day.
Recover Now is a national campaign aimed at the education and awareness of the devastating effects of opioid and heroin abuse and curbing drug and alcohol addiction in the United States. Recover Now is sponsored by treatment facilities nationwide. Many of them have been where you are, and they want to help by spreading a message of hope and recovery. They're working hand in hand with major insurance companies nationwide that can help you or a loved one get clean in 7 to 30 days. Recover Now is embarking on a national outreach campaign on TV and radio to promote anti-addiction messages. So if you, a loved one, or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, do not wait. A new life for you could be 30 days away. Call us right now. I promise this call can change your life. Sponsored by the Detox and Treatment Helpline.
800-209-5173. 800-209-5173. That's 800-209-5173.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.